The Matchbox is one of the most interesting Minecraft ARGs out there because we don't actually find out who the killer was. Though there's been some theories and conspiracies out there about who the killer is, nobody has actually been able to draw a conclusion. So today, I'm going to be discussing 3 theories that you have most likely never heard of for the Matchbox in an attempt to actually solve the mystery and figure out once and for all who the Spark was. And yes, I'm going to play that really cool intro that Weefies did. Let's go ahead and start off with our first theory, the knife theory. Throughout the first few rounds of the Matchbox, Knife by far appears to be the one who has the most aggression and hate towards other players, so it leads us to believe that he might be the Spark.
Are you stupid? And who invited you, smart guy? I don't know, dimwit. Well, you're just a bundle of joy, aren't you?
I could say the same thing to you.
Later, everybody decides to vote out Knife because it looks like he's most likely the Spark, but it actually turns out he wasn't because the round kept going. Except that isn't 100% true. Nowhere inside of the Matchbox rules does it say that if the Spark is eliminated, the round will stop, meaning that Knife very well actually could be the killer. And if you look back to every time he's even spoken in the meetings, it would make perfect sense. Look back to every time Knife has spoken. He's been rude and aggressive every single time somebody has even asked him a question, most likely because he didn't want people to think he was the Spark. If he kept getting asked too many questions, he might reveal a little too much information and then people would find out he's the Spark. So he wanted to make sure people would stop asking him questions by being rude to them. And this will make perfect sense if you look back to every single time he said anything. And also if you think about it, he hasn't been very logical with any of his arguments. He keeps blaming multiple people and not sticking with one person, meaning he's really just trying to avoid him being voted altogether and not thinking it's actually one person, rather more just avoiding the questions from other people.
You know you're the worst Spark in the history of this game, and there's no chance you win, right?
And if that's not enough evidence for you, Oak actually puts up a really good argument presenting Knife as the Spark.
I was in the volcano room, all game with Glove. We tried to set up a trap together using Glove as bait. It's just I got swapped away, and in that time, the Spark, aka Knife, must have marked Glove. Vote with us, and I promise we will win.
Now, it could just mean that Venus or Mustard is the Spark, but if Knife was actually the Spark, this really helped Oak and the others decide that he might actually be the one who killed everybody. And if that's still not enough for you, here's one final nail in the coffin. And that's, well, this line right here.
Wait, Knife, you said you were in the maze?
What about it?
That's exactly where I got swapped.
If you tally it all up, it actually does look like Knife was the Spark. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because there are 2 other theories that might be even crazier than this one. The 8th person theory. This theory comes partly from H Meowman, my brother, so shout out to you, but it does bring up an interesting question. In the rules of the Matchbox, it says players will split a certain amount of money. And sure, it does mention that there probably were 7 players.
Matchbox is a game of 7 players. They each compete to split $1,000.
But again, nothing is certain in Matchbox. Just like we're not certain about who the medic or who the Spark is, it might be lying about the rules as well. Sure, it's probably a little far-fetched and probably the most unlikely out of all of my theories, but think about it. What if there was an 8th person? And here's the thing, if there were an 8th person, we wouldn't even know. In the Matchbox, your name tag isn't shown unless you get shot by an arrow, and the only person to do that was Cardboard, which he revealed Knife, and all skins are Steve, so there is no way to know who's who. Now, you're probably saying, G DAWG, didn't you see the meeting room? There were only 7 people there. Well, that was Weefies who set that up. Here's the footage of how the actual meeting went. I think you can see now why he did the whole meeting room thing. So, could there be an 8th person? Well, there are a couple of holes in this theory. One big one is that it does specifically mention that 7 players will compete to win $1,000.
Matchbox is a game of 7 players.
But if you think about it, it is technically possible. Think of it like this way. Somebody stages themselves up to be Glove to gain their trust. They kill Flute, then they mark Cardboard to act like Knife.
Why would I kill the person following me around and essentially incriminate myself?
Because you're low-key kinda stupid.
After that, they wait for the people to eliminate Knife. During the meetings, they stay absolutely chat silent so nobody knows they're even there. Then they mark nobody the last round and hope that Oak will be voted out. It's the perfect plan, and if there was an 8th person, that's probably how it would be. But again, very unlikely just because it said that there were 7 players, and if we're going off this theory, we're just assuming any of the rules at this point could be a lie. Heck, that could even mean that there was no spark in the first place. Which, technically, would be possible. But before I share this last theory with all of y'all, I want to give a channel shout out to Tangibelseal. He makes a lot of Minecraft videos and works really hard on his videos just like I do, so feel free to go subscribe to him, link in the description, should be on screen right now. But if you want a channel shout out just like Tangibelseal, all you have to do is watch till the end of this video and comment the code word that I'll say at the end of it. That's right, you don't even have to subscribe, just comment the code word that I'll say at the end of the video, and you guys have a great day and enjoy the rest of this video. Sparkless Archive. This is by far the craziest theory that I have, but bear with me, okay? To understand the theory that I'm about to explain to all of y'all, we have to go to another one of Leafy's videos, searching for a player who doesn't exist. I'm not going to give a full rundown on what this video is about, but essentially it's about a government doing some crazy experiments with this one player named Alex. Now, what does this have to do with the Matchbox, you ask? Well, I want to ask you one single thing about the Matchbox. What do they refer to it as? You might think of it as sort of a game, but no. Every single time somebody even mentions the Matchbox, it's referred to as an experiment.
The end of the experiment. The Matchbox experiment.
Not a game, not even something for fun, but an experiment. In fact, if you look at even when Leafy talks about the Matchbox, he himself even refers to it as the Matchbox experiment. Now, before we move on, I should mention I'm not actually the first person to have this theory. The person on screen right here is actually another person to have this theory, so shout out to you. But anyways, let's get to the point. In searching for a player who doesn't exist, there's a branch of the US government called Archive. They do crazy government experiments, and basically one of them has to do with Minecraft. The Matchbox would actually sort of fall under that category as a weird experiment, and if anything, it looks like it might be something done by Archive. But what does this have to do with my theory? Well, why was it called Sparkless Archive? I actually think that there was no spark at all during the whole game. That's right, the whole time, nobody was actually killing, and it was just random people being eliminated. The whole time, it was an experiment, not a game. It was never about the money. It was always about the government branch known as Archive, seeing how the players would turn on each other and vote them out. Nobody was actually being killed. It was just luck of the draw and randomness. That means that nobody was actually the spark, nobody was the medic, and it was all just an experiment to see how people would turn on each other. If you consider for a second that when Mustard said he was the medic,
Because I'm the medic.
and nobody actually was the spark, then he could have just been lying and there actually was nobody who was the spark or medic. This whole thing was an experiment the whole time. But of course, that is just a theory. For all we know, it might just be something as simple as being Venus or Mustard. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's something more complex, such as one of my theories. What do you think? Tell me in the comments, and if this video gets 200 watch hours, I'll make another video where I explain theories on searching for a world that doesn't exist. Also, if you watched this far, your code word is red concrete. Comment that for a potential channel shoutout. But maybe one day, in time, the answers to the Matchbox will be revealed, and we can put this experiment to rest.